Alright, people. It's time. This is what it's all been building up to. We've got to close out Syothon. There's been 40-something hours of speedrun action thus far. And this is the grand finale. And what a way to close it out. We have the legend, the dragon, Dactyly, currently the world record holder of 149 egg, boasting several other very high-ranking times in the Year of the Dragon game. We're ready. Everyone's ready. It's time. Dact, take it away with Spyro Year of the Dragon 149 egg. Woo!
Ooh.
It doesn't quite hit as hard when there's exactly one person clapping and wooing. But
I said woo.
But over to you for 149 egg, which you've described as, in 5 words, all eggs except that one. Actually,
Yes,
before the run
indeed.
starts, would you care to explain which?
I was going to, yeah.
Okay,
I figured
excellent,
since we have some
excellent.
spare time, I would explain the category first, because
Excellent.
then everyone in chat can answer
Alright.
it if anyone else comes in later.
In that case,
Um,
I'll hand it over to you. Take it away. This is the finale. The floor is yours.
Awesome.
you.
Thank you very much, though. Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Dact. This is Spyro 3. You may have seen me run this game before. The other 5 marathon runs I've done of this year. But yeah, 149 egg. It's a category you don't see very often. It's not super popular. It should be though. It's really fun. But the gist is there are 150 eggs total. They're like the main collectible of the game. But you're meant to need 100 to actually beat the game. But yeah, there's 150 total. One of those eggs though is accessed through the secret final boss, the optional boss at the end, which requires collecting all of the other eggs, and all of the 20,000 gems in the game. So 150 egg is just the same as a max completion 117% run. By not getting that one, by not getting Yin Yang, you do all of the egg stuff, all the content, all the mini games, all the egg challenges and stuff, but you don't need to go out of your way to collect gems at all, and so it makes the run an hour shorter almost. So that's the idea of 149 egg. All right, cool. Let's get this show on the road then. So if anyone comes in chat and asks why the hell it's 149, you guys can answer the question. Let's start this. We'll go Moneybags icon for raising money for Gamers Outreach. Okay, it's there. I'll just say start when the time actually would normally start. I forgot where the last menu is when you use memory card. Yeah. I would not normally use memory card, but there are a handful of points in the game where it can crash or soft lock. It's not common, but it's possible. So for a marathon run like this, memory card is kind of a no-brainer. All right, starting in maybe 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So yeah, Spyro 3, third game in the trilogy. It's big, it's a long game. If you collect everything, it's 3 hours-ish. This run will be closer to 2. I've been working on this category for the past couple weeks to prepare for the event. Managed to sneak in a couple world records. So immediately, hopefully I can get this. Oh, that's not quite high enough. No, okay. So what I'm going for in this level, which makes every category of this game really reset heavy at the high level, is proxies, and specifically proxies off those enemies in Sunny Villa, which are not the easiest thing to proxy off. So the point, the explanation for how that works is there are certain hitboxes, certain objects that you're allowed to exist inside if you are charging, but not otherwise, not if you're not charging. No, okay. Classic marathon, don't get anything in Sunny Villa. Yeah, not if you're not charging. So if you charge through one of those things and then jump into its hitbox after it dies, and then hit X with the right timing. Oh, little skip here, by the way. The loading zone for that sub-level bleeds out slightly beyond where it's supposed to. I'll come back to the proxy explanation later, actually, when there's another one. This is Sheila. She's a kangaroo. She has the worst Australian accent in video games. There are a few like side characters in this game. It's something that they kind of added in Spyro 3 compared to the other two games. They all have slightly different movement. They're all like the movement is not quite as deep as Spyro's for the most part, although they all have their own little quirks. Like Sheila has these double jumps, and then you can kick cancel at the top of them to like cut a bit of height so you don't jump too high, like higher than you need to. Alright, I did get everything here. The route in this level is really variable depending on what eggs you collect, on what proxies you get. Okay, good. So I got one at least. That skips the little cutscene with the chicken at the end of the level. Saves a decent chunk of time, so glad I was able to get at least one of those skips. But ideally you want to get a few. And then we are going to head into what everyone seems to remember from this game, which is the skateboarding. Even if you are playing a different Spyro game, you'll get people in chat every now and then asking, oh yeah, is this the one with the skateboarding? I remember that. There are 4 of these skateboarding sections in the game. We'll be doing 3 of them in this category. One of them is in like the bonus level that we don't go to. The goal of this one is just to skate around and get all these lizards. The lizards are their AI works that they run pretty predictably, but if you're not on a skateboard and you get near them, they'll like burrow into the ground so you can't get them, which kind of forces you to use the skateboard. But also the skateboard just moves quickly, so it's worth doing anyway. Do a little trick here where we do like half. Oh, I didn't quite get that. You do like half of a roll so that you can cut your. You can go in the right direction afterwards, instead of going all the way up and down the ramp. But we do get to do this challenge 2 identical times, so hopefully we'll see it on the next time round. The difference between the first and the second go of this is just that the second one has a timer, and it's a really generous timer, obviously. It has a timer, and then if you fall off your skateboard in this one, you have to restart the whole challenge, unlike the first one where you can just get back on a different skateboard. But otherwise, it is identical. So it's just cut the corners, jump off ramps because it increases your speed. If I can get a 110 here on the timer, that's a good sign. That's what I was talking about there. You do like half a roll and then stop, and it sends you back in the direction you want to be going. Sorry, 210. I didn't mean 110. There we go. Yeah, 210. Yeah, Phoenix is correct. So each of the progression of this game, each of the levels has what you call an end of level egg, and that you have to collect all of those in order to progress to the next world. Obviously, in this category, I'll be collecting everything anyway, but in like an any % run, oh nice, you would need to get all of those end of level eggs. That would be basically all you get. And there are a lot of skips that let you get to the ends of levels much more quickly than intended. Speaking of which, so I mentioned earlier about a like sub-level loading zone that bleeds out further than it's supposed to. There's another one right here. So the actual entrance to this area is like up next to where the end of the level is. But you can get out of bounds like that and then just go into, like, fly into that wall. And the loading zone just extends out past it a little bit. So this is Sun Seeds, very simple challenge, but it's really fun. It's kind of fun movement, trying to optimize this. As far as the movement goes, I mean, the kind of commandment number one in Spyro speedrunning is charging is fast. Like, you want to be on the ground and charging, preferably in a straight line as much as you can. That's not always possible, of course, but being on the ground is always going to be fastest. Sorry, let me try something here. Just timing. Nice. All right. There's a. I don't know how precise that flame is. It's a couple frames probably. But if you flame that NPC in the like little gap between when she talks to you and when the cutscene starts, and then skip the cutscene within a certain window, which is not very precise, you can skip the little animation she does after she gives you the egg. It saves a few seconds. It's quite nice to get. Do some manipulation at the end of those bell towers to put this thief right here, so we can just snipe him. And then I'm going to do a little thing here where I jump before pausing to exit. So I was slightly off the ground, and that gives you a bunch of extra upwards momentum coming out of there. Normally you would fall all the way down to the ground. You couldn't like glide out of it like that. But because I got that upward momentum from the jump, I was able to glide up to that top area, which you are not normally supposed to be able to get to like that. Grab this last egg. And head out. Yeah, that's all it is. You just press X and then start. All right, so that's 2 levels down. The reason you don't normally use memory card, by the way, is because every time you enter and exit a level and the game auto saves, it takes slightly longer. So optimally, you would not have a memory card in, so it doesn't auto save. But as I mentioned, I don't want to tempt fate with crashes. A little sequence here where we get out of bounds with that Superfly power up, and then get a swim in air. So swim in air is like a staple of Spyro speedruns. Like swimming is not like water, deep water that you can swim in is not really a thing. There's just triggers for swimming, like planes of water. And so if you can hit one of those planes of water from out of bounds so that you're not like trapped inside the area you're supposed to be in, you can just swim wherever. Like you're just swimming out of bounds and can swim back in to the level. There are lots of those that are possible to do. In this game, every level that has like swimmable water, except for one, has a swim in air that you can do. Like they're very very common. So here's Sheila again. This is her actual level. The reason I had to skip into the Sheila area in Sunny Villa back in the first level is because normally she's supposed to be unlocked by completing this level, but I didn't want to do this level first. Just be slower. But once I've done this level, I will not need to skip into Sheila areas anymore. And that applies to the other side characters as well. There are 4 of them.
Is there time for a couple of quick ones?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Outstanding. We got $25 from Rippy with no comment. Thank you, Rippy, for your outstanding Titanfall 2 speedrun. Every single helmet. And then we got a whopping 150 burger from Club Who that says, hey. I am syothon, a man doing a speedrun event to raise money for charity. Good luck, Dact. I'm not sure what that exactly means, aside from the good luck, Dact. However, thank you, Club Who. Much love. That's incredibly generous of you. And yeah, incredibly generous of everyone who's donated thus far. This is our grand finale. So if you do want to get any last ones in, this is the time. Back to you, Dact.
Thank you. Yeah, only a couple of hours left. So get a little more you can. If you're familiar with 100 egg speedruns, which is like the more common category that actually collects eggs, you might wonder why I'm going to Seashell Shore now. You would normally go to Molten Crater. It's like a little bit easier to get to. But we need to go to the speedways in this category. So getting to Mushroom Speedway from here is, and then to Molten Crater is a decent bit quicker than going to Crater and then the speedway and then seashell, and you can't end on the speedway because you get warped to the balloon after your last like regular level. This is the egg that I always used to miss in 100 egg runs, so it's like burned into my memory now. And true Dact fans will know why that's funny. Little proxy up here to get to the Sheila area. Yeah, nice and easy one. This is one of the areas that we would like go to in a 100 egg run, but not get everything. There's one very quick egg up in this cave that we would get, but then, oh nice. You can like lock the camera so that you're facing away from the egg as you get it there, but I missed it. But then there's also this like sandcastles challenge, which is kind of long and also has a tendency to crash sometimes. So it's it used to be in the 100 egg route years ago, but it's been rooted out now, at least at like high level. So I'm kind of happy about that. Oh god. And because it hasn't been in 100 egg for ages, I have forgotten how to do it fast. Alright. Okay, good. Yeah, so sometimes it crashes when you break that last cannon. It's like if you just kind of slow down a bit and don't go as fast as possible, it typically does not happen. But that's one of the reasons I have memory card in. Alright, little mini boss here, Bluto. He's a Rhinoc in a submarine, and we're just gonna mow him down with our cannon. If I can do the movement correctly. No, I missed the first early hit, but I just want to like park on this little ammo box so that when it respawns, it spawns right underneath me. And then just get right up in it like this. There we go.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it is Phoenix, because it basically never crashes in 117 when you collect all the gems. So I think it's something like that. But I don't know the technical explanation.
We had a dragon.
This water tunnel is traumatic for a lot of people who played this as a kid. The controls in here are not correct. Like, they just don't really make sense. You're, like, delayed a lot before you start actually moving left and right. You have to hit all the Rhinocs and avoid the mines. Even now, having been speedrunning this on and off for, like, a decade, I occasionally still mess this up, and it makes me cry every time. Alright, similar to the thing in Cloud Spires, I'm going to charge before I leave that area, and it gives you some forward momentum into the water there, and just puts you a bit further into the next screen. If you didn't do that, you'd see like an octopus come up in front of you, because you're like a bit further back. There's a little optimization there. And that's it. And then we get to go into our first speedway. These are kind of like, they're a bit divisive. People love or hate them. The issue is they're like fun to optimize, but they're really, really punishing in like an RTA run. If you're not doing just ILs, because especially the race, which is the first thing I'm going to be doing here. The races are all really long. You have to do 3 laps, and if you crash, like if you fall in the water or miss a ring or something, you have to do the whole thing again, which can lose minutes depending on which one and how far through you fail. So a little bit of concentration here, but shouldn't be too bad. And then the time trial is similar, just shorter. And then there's also a hunter challenge, which is, in most of the speedways, is basically an auto-scroller, but this is actually the one in this level is the hardest one. These rings are much bigger than they look, so you can kind of cut them quite tight like that, pretty safely. And then the blue stars give you boost, and supercharging is also faster than flying, so as usual you want to be on the ground when you can. Flying lower is also faster, like the higher up you go in the level, the slower you fly. There's a bunch of like little optimizations, like risky optimizations you can do in this level, especially the like individual level records for the race and the time trial are quite impressive. Shoutouts to Nitrovsky, who I think still holds all of the IL records for the speedways. He did at one point, I don't know if he still does. So yeah, that's the race. You get an egg for that, and then there's a time trial, which is like the classic Spyro speedway thing. Like the Spyro 1 has these, it's just fly through the rings and flame / charge all of the like objects. There are, what is it, like 8 of each thing? I don't actually remember. But you just need to get them all in one go. They give you gems as well. We don't actually care about the gems, but we'll just like passively get most of them. But to get that egg, you just need to get everything in one go through without running out of time or crashing into the water. And then right as I hit the last thing there, I give up. Like I pause and give up the time trial. And it still counts. Like you still register as having won it, but it's just a lot faster than waiting for it to end by itself. You can do it even faster in this category because you don't need the gem from the last thing that you're collecting. Like in a 117% run, you would have to actually wait for the gem time in. Missed one of them. Sorry, I had to concentrate for a second there. This is kind of a hard strat. But that's all good. Ideally, you kill all 7 of them, like, very quickly there. I missed one, which is not a big deal. And then little Black Label exclusive strat there, or like 1.0 version exclusive. You can actually pause and exit the speedways as Sparks is coming to talk to you, which means as long as you do the Hunter Challenge last, you can save a little bit of time from not having to like have him talk to you and then choose to exit the level. There's a couple versions of this game. The NTSC 1.0 version is the fastest, but it's not by very much. If you have 1.1, it's still more than competitive. PAL is okay, but not great. Alright. Nice. So that's Ball Proxy. That's a pretty important one. It's not too difficult once you get the timing down. It works a bit different. I guess I never actually explained proxies properly. I'll do that. But the way the ball works is... Oh, nice. I fell off the ramp. Okay, I haven't done that, like, ever. Yeah, the way the ball works is at a certain point in his animation, he, like, puffs up, makes himself bigger. And if you glide over the top of him, you get, like, pushed up a little bit by that animation. And then if you charge, as that's happening, that like upward momentum from getting pushed up gets transferred into the charge, and you go way up in the sky and can skip into this area. Or to the end of the level, or to wherever else you want to go. So I guess that's I guess that's not the first Moneybag skip, because we skipped into Sheila, but into Sheila's Alp. But yeah, it's one of many Moneybag skips. This is Sergeant Bird. He's the side character from the second homeworld. The intention is that you backtrack a few times in this game to come back for the areas for characters that you can't have unlocked yet by the time you would normally reach them. But thankfully, not only can you skip all of these backtracks, they're all really easy to skip as well. They're some of the easiest like skips into side areas in the run. Yeah. And then, yeah, all we need to do here is just take these tiki heads and put them on the bodies. Hopefully don't get hit by the fire. There's a secret egg behind this wall as well. I think I'm comfortable saying that that's never happened before, yeah. Even if it's not, it might not be true. I don't remember if it's happened before. Sergeant Bird's movement is... I don't love it, but basically he has the strafe buttons, L1 and R1, and if you hold both of them, it like locks his direction. And so you can... Normally he has tank controls in the air, so you press left and he like turns left. But if you're holding both strafe buttons, he will actually move left when you press left.
Here.
Makes him a bit easier to control, but means you sometimes have to fly a bit blind because you can't turn. That's the end of level egg, and then we'll go back to grab one that was in the middle that we skipped earlier. This is a little bit faster than running through normally. It's actually not that big of a deal to skip into the thieves area in this category, because we have plenty of gems just passively from picking them up as we run to places, and also from the speedways. So we could actually just buy our way into thieves if we wanted to, but doing ball proxy is faster.
Let's head on.
And that is our last... Well, it's almost the last level in the first homeworld. Oh, what happened there?
Listen.
Oh, okay, I know. Yeah. Hold on. Hold. No. Oh man, that was really dumb. So there's a thing that happens called a cutscene crash on the PS2 version, where the some of the cutscenes just fail to load if you're on fast disk speed, and you can fix it by like opening and closing the disk tray, and that is allowed. But I screwed up there and hit the eject button when I hadn't actually crashed, and so it just like I had the disk not in when the cutscene tried to load. So I will have to just load my save. That was really stupid. That's also something that hasn't happened in a long time. That's really dumb. This is why we play with memory card. Yeah, cool. I just need to get to boss. Let me try and do this, actually. This might be the fastest way if I get it. There's a very fast swim in air here, if you can... No, okay, I'll just go the normal way. Something had to happen.
The balloons on.
Okay. Back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Listen carefully, you.
Okay, so first boss, this is Buzz. Or it will be Buzz. This fight should be the same every time. You can completely like manipulate his AI. He charges at you, but he won't charge himself off the edge of the arena. And so if you like manipulate him like that, he'll just charge to the end and stop. And then you just kind of hang out on the edge, and he'll like stop himself from charging off the edge before he actually reaches you. And then if you just keep doing that, but then now we need to look away from him because he has these fire attacks that he normally does. He like sneezes fire at you or puts like a flame wall around him. But he won't do any of those if he is off camera. So you just do this a few times. And he's dead. And then normally in other runs, you would typically just let the game progress there and take you to the next homeworld. But I do actually have to go back for one thing that I was not able to get before. In each of the homeworlds, there is a Sparks level where you play as Sparks. It's like a top-down shoot 'em up kind of thing. And that's not unlocked until you have beaten the boss of that world, so you always have to go back for it.
Hello, Spot.
But they have some out of boundses of their own, if I can make this work. There we go. You can just kind of climb on sloped walls. So that's the tutorial. We just skip the whole thing.
Looks like you're ready.
The main part of this level doesn't really have any good skips, but all of the rest of the Sparks levels have big skips, and we have that tutorial skip here, so we do them all in quite unintended ways. Oh, nice. I just didn't get the power up. That's fine. I normally want to get the rocket power up there just to break those two boxes. Just reduces the number of enemies that are around, lets you get through easier. But now I have the rapid fire power up, which I can use to clear my way and also to completely melt the boss of this level. Temporary invincibility here lets us not worry about crawdads and just take the direct line to the next key. Yeah, this one doesn't have a skip straight to the end, but all the others do. But the benefit of that is that we get to rapid fire the boss. They don't have invincibility frames, so you can just kind of sit here and they melt if you just rapid fire into them. And then you get a power up. Let's see if I can get this. Nice. All right, you get an upgrade, like a power up after each Sparks level. That one gives you an extended range for collecting gems. But we don't need those in this category, and so we can just skip getting them. That one's the only difficult one. You need to time a jump out of Zoe's range before she talks to you. It only saves maybe a second or two, but it's nice to get. All the rest of them are very easy to skip.
Okay.
So now we are in our second homeworld, Midday Gardens. Gonna immediately do a swim in air. This one looks a bit different. Nice, just swim through that bridge. Get the power up, break these pots to get an egg from them. And also open enchanted towers, hopefully. Oh, I missed, nice. Yeah, so that level has a target above it on the scenery that you're supposed to talk to Hunter and get a rock to spit at it. But you can also break it with a fireball. And ideally, you do that at the same time as you collect that egg and overlap the cutscenes. But I did miss there, so I will have to open that a bit later. Not a big deal. And now we see Sergeant Bird again. We're in his actual level this time. There are 3 eggs here. 2 of them are mandatory. You just get them as you go through. But the third one is from freeing these 5 hummingbirds in cages, and it actually makes the level quite a lot longer. Nice rocket going through the door there. Love to see that. Alright, I freed one just there that you might not have noticed, but you probably heard the sound.
Sir?
This is basically an escort mission, so you are escorting that hummingbird Gabrielle through the level. And you have to wait for her to get to where she's going sometimes, and so you have time to do some other things. You need to kill specific enemies to get her to progress. Here, you just need to kill that one. Gonna get some health, and then free this hummingbird over here before she whoops me. So that's the level completed, but now I need to go get the last 2 hummingbirds, which are quite far out of the way. One is through this little corridor. If you just hug the ceiling here, you can usually avoid all the fire. Not a big deal. And then the last one, we need to use some bombs to break a breakable floor. I'm gonna kill this enemy. This bit's a little tight, a little scary, because if you get hit while you're holding these, you just immediately drop all of them. And then have to go back for them. but I made sure to kill a few problem enemies on the first pass through so that they weren't going to be in the way while I had the bombs. Got stuck on the door there.
Before I was
And there's the last one. Remember to stay hydrated. All right, next into Spooky Swamp. This level is kind of bad in this category, honestly. There's a lot of like slow section. There's 2 minigames that are quite slow paced. There's a lot of waiting. We do have a proxy at the start and then another one at the end, so there is some like variation. But yeah, the middle of this level kind of sucks, honestly. So I will try to do a proxy here to skip into the mini boss. Nice. That was a bit higher than necessary, but all good. And then we get to fight Sleepyhead. This is another guy who's like a possibility for a 100 egg route. 100 egg is basically like the any percent no major skips category. You can skip into the final boss, which means you don't need to collect any like non-mandatory eggs. But 100 egg doesn't allow that, and so you just need to collect the like 100 fastest ones. And so there's a lot of like routing flexibility for that category. This is one that isn't really fast for like a high level run, but is a great option for beginners because it's really easy and only a little bit slower than the alternatives. Favorite level in this route? I'm not sure about favorite level. The most unique one is definitely Enchanted Towers. Like, there's a lot of this category that kind of overlaps with 100 egg in terms of the level route, other than mini games and stuff. But Enchanted Towers, because of having to collect all the bones, there's a lot of difference and like a lot of variation depending on what skips you get. It's hard, don't get me wrong, and it definitely not the easiest thing, but I'd say probably like second hardest level in the run. This is Blind Guys. This is an escort mission. There's nothing really to say about this other than in a 117% run, this is much more interesting because you try and collect all the gems while waiting for these guys. But I don't need to do that, so I can just clear the path and wait. The first guy basically just follows the path on the ground, and then the second one is a bit different. And you can't smash these. You can't clear the obstacles too early, or they'll actually come back.
One egg.
All right. 1 egg cage remains. These guys, all the NPCs in this level also talk in haikus, which is kind of neat. Yeah, I guess while I'm waiting here, I can actually go back and finish explaining how dead body proxies work. I started this earlier and then interrupted myself. So there are a lot of different hitboxes and objects that you're allowed to exist inside if you are charging, and not if you're not charging. Separately from that, if you are charge jumping, like this, and hit X in the middle of it, you'll go into the glide animation for 1 frame. You do like a little stutter in the air. And so by jumping into one of those hitboxes, or charge jumping specifically, and then hitting X at the right time while you're inside the hitbox, the game is suddenly like, oh, you're not charging, you're not allowed to be in this hitbox. There's one. You're not allowed to be in this hitbox, so it like ejects you out very quickly. And then you immediately, because you were only gliding for 1 frame, you immediately go back to charging, and the momentum from that like failsafe ejection gets carried over into your charge. And so that's how you get these like really like vertical charges. Or I mean, they're vertical usually if you do them correctly. You can get horizontal ones as well. They're all a little different depending on what kind of enemy you're doing it off or fodder you're doing it off, and they're quite precise. So getting good at proxies is it's a long process. One of the more like intimidating things about picking up this game, but you can kind of just incorporate them as you go. Like you can start out running with none, and then just practice them as you want to get better. That was a bit of a different one, actually. I didn't even think about that. That was a squeeze proxy behind that boulder. That works a bit differently, where there's some actual scenery that isn't quite big enough for Spyro to be inside. And so you get him wedged in there, and that same kind of fail-safe of like, oh, Spyro doesn't fit here, he's not supposed to be in here, kind of activates and just ejects you outwards. It's just basically to prevent you from getting soft-locked, getting stuck inside scenery. But sometimes we can make use of it. I've been shooting random spots in the air during this because the Rhinox that float down on umbrellas in this last section are actually already there earlier, like before they come down. And so if you can kill them before they actually spawn in, you just they never come down. And I just skipped a bridge there. Like that auto-scroller would normally end a bit later than that. There's an extra one of those bridges, but because I'd killed both of the Rhinox on that bridge, it registers as them all being dead, and so the auto-scroller just ends. Oh. I was about to say easiest swim in air in the game there, and then I made it look unnecessarily difficult, but you just get right up to the edge there and press square and you swim over the edge. And then that egg Pee-wee probably looked very weird. There is normally an egg thief in this level that appears after you get the end of level egg, which is what I'm doing right now. But before that activates, like before the thief is activated, the egg and the thief are still like loaded into the level, and they're just stored under that bridge. And so if you are swimming and then just go to where they're stored, you can just collect the egg, like without having to chase the thief down. This is Bentley. He's our third side character. We'll unlock him in the next world. He certainly has the least interesting movement. You kind of just walk. He walks really slowly. There's some stuff you can do with him. He has like good spin jumps, but mostly it's just walk and Hulk smash. And then I'm going to do that swim in air again here, because there's a couple of eggs in the early part of the level that I skipped when I did that squeeze proxy earlier, so I need to go back for them. And the quickest way is to get that swim again and just take a direct path onto the level. And we're done. Alright. Yeah, next up is Enchanted Towers, which is the level I was just talking about. That is probably the most different one from how it is in 100 Egg. There's an egg you get here for collecting a bunch of bones from these dinos that are like scattered around the level. And they're up in these towers, and what you're supposed to do is use Sergeant Bird to fly around. It's the only level that you can play as two different characters in the same area. But if, I'm gonna say if here. Maybe? No, I got nothing, that sucks. Alright. What I was trying to do there was get a squeeze proxy off that dude to get up to one of the tall towers and get a bone as Spyro that you're supposed to get as Sergeant Bird, which would let me completely skip like using Bird later. Unfortunately, I've got nothing, so I will have to use Bird. Little volume warning here. This is quite loud when these rockets explode. Nice. Alright, and I did a strat there that looks very weird. The screen goes like half dark, and then you fall in, and then the time save from that will become clear later.
Let's start with something
But I basically triggered one of the enemies on the ground to start attacking me right as the game tried to warp me to the end of level guy. And the result is that little dark glitch. I don't really know the technical aspect of how it works. But yeah, it interrupts the warp somehow. If you mistime that, you can actually end up with a completely black screen and you can't see what you're doing. Thankfully, where you're going is directly in front of you, so you can usually make it in there even if you do that. But it's always a little scary. Alright, we've got our second skateboarding area here. This is just a little tutorial of how to do tricks. You get points for doing different tricks. So he's teaching us how to do all this stuff, and then we'll have a little competition against Hunter, where we have to get more points than him. I've done a couple little optimizations of making the tutorial a bit quicker, but mostly it's just the same every time.
I'm thinking you're ready.
So now we have a 2-minute skate off with Hunter. Unfortunately, we can I guess maybe fortunately, we can very quickly get a lot more points than Hunter will ever be able to. So I'm just going to do some spins here. And my counter is just going to keep counting up for a while. And now I have like a minute and a half to do whatever I want to do. So if you have anything to read, Syo, now is an excellent time.
Gladly, that is very funny looking. And I will use this opportunity to shout out the sponsor of Syothon, hosting the Jolly Jamboree, which is Gamers Outreach, and their initiative to get these portable gaming kiosks into hospitals for kids undergoing treatment, loaded up with monitors, consoles, games, controllers, the works, to give kids in hospital who are undergoing treatment or recovering from various illnesses or injuries a chance to socialize and play games with their friends, family, or other patients and whatnot. One of these little kiosks can support almost 3,000 kids every year, and the Jolly Jamboree is going to sort of raise funds for them. Oh, and look at that, we got expertly timed another edition. We got an $80 contribution from Dactyly, who says, "Thanks, Syo and everyone for putting on such a great event. Y'all are awesome." Back at you, Dactyly.
Thank you. Little story about that. The Spyro community had a little competition going. I guess it still does. For like seasonal leaderboards, where it's like best time over a 3-month period for each category, and it was like cash prizes. And that's my winnings from that for the first season.
Oh, that's incredibly generous of you. Look at that. Yeah, that's super sweet. Thank you so much. I also love the idea of those seasonal leaderboards. But yeah,
shout-outs to Laura, Pesto, Spartley, all the people who put that together.
Yeah, that's sick as. The Jolly Jamboree is the sort of wider event that Syothon is a part of, and a bunch of other like streamers and organizations are all hosting events contributing to. So as an entire event, it has raised almost just shy of $132,000. And Spyro now, with that incredibly generous contribution from Dactyly himself, puts us at 1,255, which is incredible. Considering I thought the 500 goal that I set prior to the stream would be a bit, I was like, oh, I don't know. And
that's always how it is.
Almost tripled that now, which is an outstanding effort. So thank you, everyone, and thank you, Dactyly, as well. Back to you. Keep killing it with this 149 egg run.
Thank you. Yeah, so I finished the skateboard challenge. As you saw, Hunter didn't even get close. He had no chance. And then collected a few more bones. I did a kind of unintended jump to get one of them again with Spyro. It's just, even though I am going to use Bird for some of it, it is a little faster to get some of them with Spyro because Bird's movement is a little awkward.
Hey!
That was Farley. We saw him very briefly. He's a little dog. Yeah, there's like a whole puzzle with that area. It's supposed to like raise these platforms, stand on the buttons, but yeah, we didn't need to do any of it. We can just kind of hit the buttons in unintended ways. And yeah, now I just need to clean up the rest of the bones that I didn't get before. Got this guy here. Yeah, ideally I would have got some proxies at the start of the level and not had to do any of this stuff with Bird, but it's not that big of a time loss, really. There's that one, and then there's one egg that I also didn't get earlier, which, again, I would have got with Spyro if I had got the tricks. And then one last bone up here. Oh.
Here.
Didn't expect to get a hit there. Funnily enough, there is like I guess a meme category on the leaderboards on the category extensions known as Bone Dance, where the goal is just to, from a new game, get that egg, the Bone Dance egg, and it forces you to do all the like crazy strats to do it as Spyro, because unlocking Bird in that category would be very, very slow. So having run Bone Dance for like a couple of days definitely helps me when I learned this category. Kind of knew all the strats already. Oh. And then we've got one last level here in midday, Icy Peak. This one's kind of notorious for having some really hard like jumps. There's no proxies or anything in this level, it's just the jumps are really hard. Including this very first one to skip the entire level, basically, all the way to the end. Oh, not that. Should be good. Yeah, alright, so that is as tight as it looked. Maybe more, because there is a little quirk of the physics in this game specifically, where if you charge jump at the very end of a ledge, you get what's called a stutter jump, and your height from the hello, thank you. Your height from the jump just gets like cut to 0. That thief probably looked a bit weird. I got the thieves in the wrong order there, and doing that kind of breaks the yellow thief's AI. You just get near him and then tap a camera button, and he just respawns in front of you. So I messed it up a bit there, but you can like flame and then have him respawn on top of the flame.
Oh, by the way,
Then I'm going to do some cannon shots here. Through the walls. This is slightly faster than using the intended cannon. There were 2 ice walls there that I had to break. And then we get into Nancy. It's slightly suboptimal to do that. There is an out of bounds skip that you can do into this area. It's pretty tricky though. I haven't really learned it. It only saves a handful of seconds. Although it does save a moneybags payment, which will come in handy later. Yeah, this is full auto-scroller. We're just waiting for Nancy here to do her ballet routine. Or ice dancing, I guess. I did crash here a couple weeks ago, just out of nowhere. Like, I just skated towards her right here, and the game just froze. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea why. This whole level is kind of crash prone. It's very common in 117 for especially new 117 runners to like shoot 2 of the vultures too quickly with a cannon, and the game just freezes. If you're not aware of that, it's a very easy mistake to make. when I pause and exit this after the egg, there'll be one frame where Spyro's upside down. See if you can spot it.
We did it.
Right. Oh, there. There was one frame where Spyro was upside down. Then we go grab this on the ledge, and then there's one more very tricky jump to get to the egg on the island more quickly. Nice. Alright, that's not easy. That little wall glide flop. This is easy. I don't know why I failed that part. Yeah, and then you can just do some spin jumps. That you're not supposed to do that. That you're supposed to come from a completely different, like, a completely different part of the level towards that little ice platform there. Yeah, I don't know if it will show up with the
Let's hit 'em.
stream as well because of the frame rate, but there's just like a little stutter in Spyro's animation. All right, so that is Midday Gardens. We got our second boss here, Spike. This is a really fun fight. I guess this is the like obligatory time to mention that this game has adaptive difficulty for a kids 3D platformer from the year 2000. Depending on how much stuff you've collected and how many times you've died and various other things, certain stuff gets easier and harder. Oh, maybe? Nice. Alright, I got the extra rock there. That was really lucky. Yeah, in every category except any percent, you're gonna get hard mode for this fight. But like in an any percent run, this fight is way quicker. He takes fewer hits. He does fewer attacks. It's very odd. I want to try and conserve a little bit of health here, but that's kind of fine. All right. I'm gonna grab some more health actually, just for safety. The Sparks level you can take a few hits, like accidental hits in the Sparks level, so don't want to be on too low health. But before that Sparks level, we need to do the Speedway, which we have not done yet. So this is our second Speedway, Country. It's probably my favorite of the four. Maybe Harper's pretty good as well, but. We're back to a race. As I mentioned before, back in Mushroom Speedway, 3-lap race. If you go reasonably fast, there's no issue with like winning the race. But if you do make a mistake and like crash into the water or do something that kind of fails the challenge, you have to go back to the start of lap 1 and you can lose minutes. These are really scary for that reason. Just if you are trying to optimize them too much. But thankfully the rings are very forgiving. They have bigger hitboxes than they look like they do. These are the like IL competitions in these games is not super popular. Like the IL leaderboards don't have a lot of times on them, but the people who do get into them have optimized these pretty heavily. Last night, when I probably should have been practicing the run, I was instead doing IL attempts for the Lost Fleet skateboard race for like 3 hours, I think. Got a cheeky third place in that. But yeah, as I mentioned before, the idea is you want to be charging as much as possible. The blue stars also give you a big speed boost, a bit faster than charging. Flying lower is faster than flying up high, but otherwise it's just take the best path. And there's the race over. And the time trial, we got rings and then stuff to break again. This is a really fun time trial. The IL route for this time trial is insane. If anyone's interested, just go to the leaderboards into the speedway, like country speedway time trial. It uses a completely different route that's extremely difficult. Should be able to still, yeah. And as before, as soon as I hit the last thing, I just give up, just quit the time trial, and it still counts as completing it because I did hit everything. And it's quite a bit faster than waiting for it to end on its own. And then choose the race here. I'm going to find Hunter, but sorry, I had to time that. You end up quite a bit closer to Hunter if you choose the race than if you choose the time trial. It's a little risky though, because if you do accidentally fly through that first ring and then try and go back to Hunter, it considers that you've like failed the race and you have to try it again. Another auto-scroller here. This one is a bit weird. I'm playing on the 1.0 version, as I mentioned earlier, like the original American Black Label version. And there's a bit of a, I guess, oversight bug in this where the sound effects from killing the cows and the UFOs are like proximity based. So they're quieter if you're further away from them. And just because of the way this is designed, you're always hitting stuff from really far away, so you just never hear the sound effects. If you listen to this challenge on any other version, actually I don't know if PAL is fixed or not, but definitely on like NTSC 1.1, you can hear all the sound effects properly. There's actually quite a few differences between 1.0 and 1.1, just like little things. Some of the music is different. Like the soundtrack like wasn't finished yet when they released the game at first. So some of the levels, including the speedways, actually just have repeat tracks from earlier in the game. And yeah, there's some like differences in cutscenes. Like the second boss cutscene just doesn't exist on 1.0. That pause exit out of speedways you can't do on 1.1. It's just lots of little things. So 1.0 is optimal, but it's not a big difference. And now we just have the Sparks level to do here before we can move on to Evening Lake. This one has a big skip. It's a very cool one, actually. We use one of the enemies to kind of boost us onto the wall. So we're going to push him back a bit, one more time, getting close to the wall, and then we can use him to climb up like this. And straight to the boss arena. I'm going to get the checkpoint here, just in case I randomly die, which can happen. And then we just kind of lower him down. Yeah, see, like, he spits out little spiders, and usually if you position yourself right, you'll kill them as they spawn. But occasionally one of them can get out and hit them. Alright, hold it. The only downside of doing the big skips in the Sparks levels is that you don't get the rapid fire power up, so you have to kill the bosses the slow way. Skip another Sparks power up there. Normally you unlock the gem finder. There's a thing where you hold all the shoulder buttons and Sparks will point to the nearest gem. But again, we're not collecting gems. We don't need that. Even in a 117% run, you don't technically need that, although it can be useful if you accidentally miss gems. All right, Evening Lake. This is probably the hardest home world, I guess. Definitely the longest, but yeah, probably the hardest as well. It's got some tricky mini games in this. This first level's not too bad though. I like Chandridge a lot.
Spyro.
So I'm going to attempt a little proxy over some scenery here to get to the first egg a bit more quickly. That did not work. That was not high enough. So instead, I'm just going to jump through this wall that doesn't exist. For some reason, part of that tunnel just doesn't have collision. There's a lot of stuff in this game that doesn't have collision. Like half of the textures that you're not supposed to get to are just not solid, just for saving memory, I guess. But the devs kind of underestimated how much of the scenery you can actually reach, and so there's a lot. Like you might have noticed, it's been not that difficult to just get out of bounds a lot of the time, because a lot of scenery that is not supposed to be reachable actually is. Nice little proxy up there to skip the first mushroom. This is a little seed puzzle mini game where you use these like he gives you 2 seeds at the start, and then you find other seeds, and you make this whole like path up the with different platforms. But with a combination of that proxy and then
You've been doing great.
these glitch bounces on the mushrooms where you kind of get more height than you're supposed to, you can skip. And the spin jump onto the mushroom as well, which is also not intentional. That was actually a very, very good mushrooms. It normally doesn't go that well. Yeah, the spin jumps onto the mushrooms are trickier than they look as well. They're slightly, I find them slightly easier to do like as the mushroom is just first growing. If you miss it the first time, it can be a bit trickier. And then another proxy here. Oh, I missed it, that's fine. Thankfully, missing that usually does not kill you. It's really easy though. I don't know how I did no Cat Wizard proxies there. But yeah, it just skips. Like you would just glide straight to this area instead of doing the little intended route that I did there.
Good day, Spyro.
So we got Sergeant Bird again. The goal here is just to kill all these cat witches that come out of this door, but they kind of move quite predictably. So we can just spawn camp them. Like if you let them get out, they fly around the whole area and are quite annoying. But if you time it right, which is not super precise, you can just kill them all like that. And there's 3 waves. Third wave has the floor is lava. Which, I mean, I'm not touching the floor anyway, so it doesn't matter.
You did it.
And then we can go grab the end of level egg. The story of this level is quite funny, actually. The princess is they think the princess has been captured by this dude with the motorbike, but she's actually just like run away with him and eloped. Because obviously he's a cool guy with a motorbike. Why wouldn't you? And then we are back into a speedway again. This is kind of an unfortunate part of the run. You got 2 speedways so close to each other. They're fun to do, but they are just long and kind of repetitive. Particularly this one, the Honey Speedway race is... I don't actually know how long it is, but it's definitely the longest egg in the run. the laps here are quite long. So if anyone has any questions or anything they want to ask, or feel free. How's my day going? My day is going excellently. Spent my morning watching this little indie marathon on Twitch, raising money for Gamers Outreach. And, I guess I'll mention actually, I submitted this category kind of on a whim. When the submissions came up for Syothon, I had plans of like learning a new game. I've kind of put that on hold, but that was what I was intending to do. And so I just submitted this category as like whatever, like I don't want to run 100 egg, I'm kind of sick of it, and I'd like to do something that's longer than like half an hour. So I'm like, oh, 149 egg's cool. And then in the like 2 weeks that I spent like practicing for the marathon run, I realized that like the world record is like pretty realistic. This isn't a super competitive category, but the world record holder, the previous record holder for this category is like the best Spyro 3 runner of all time. Oh, I am dumb. I thought I was at a different point in the race. I was just talking about how these are really slow if you mess them up. I have a habit of just losing track of where I am when I start talking about stuff. So that's my own fault. We get more Honey Speedway. Yeah, no, as I was saying, the former record holder for this category is like the best Spyro 3 runner of all time, at least outside of 117%. But his time in this category was a lot less optimized than in the ones that he actually takes seriously. So my PB right now is 2 hours and 13 seconds. I nearly did it again. I keep thinking I'm in this honeycomb, not the 1-2 before that. Yeah, that's really dumb. But yeah, 2 hours 13. Currently trying to get sub 2. This run is definitely not going to be close to that after the crash and failing the race. Far out. Yo, Glitch, thank you for the raid. On behalf of Syo. You've come at a time when I'm trying to concentrate and not fail this again, which I just did and lost like a minute. We'll be back to actually commentating in a moment. Alright. We're all good. Cool. Second try. Not great, but we're all good. Oh, you were doing PAL KH1? Nice. That's awesome. My childhood version. Alright. Time trial in Honey Speedway. I do a kind of safe route here. The optimal route is very difficult, I find. This is still a fair bit faster than just going the intended way around. But there are strats where you just get all of these honeycombs like on the way. Like you don't have to turn back at all. You saw I got one of those honeycombs from underneath. You don't actually have to fly through them. The trigger for them extends slightly below where the object is, and so you can hit them, like fly right underneath them like that. Alright. Again, give up as I finish the speedway, because it's quicker than waiting for it to end naturally. And then we just got the Hunter Challenge. This one's a bit weird. It kind of looks like an auto-scroller, but you can speed it up quite a bit.
Look out!
Basically, you're like floating down this river of... It's clearly cheese. It's supposed to be honey, but it's clearly cheese. You're floating down the river of cheese with this UFO chasing you, and you're supposed to avoid these obstacles. But if you hit some of the obstacles, the UFO will like get a bit closer to you, and if you hit too many of them, he will just like instantly catch you. But by hitting just enough of them, but no more, you can do this. You can get him to like swoop at you as if he's going to catch you, but then you jump over him, and so he's now like further in, like along his course, and it ends the challenge earlier. Alright, finally out of there, thank God. And now we get to go straight into probably the hardest level in this category. Lost Fleet. The main level is not anything spectacularly difficult. It's kind of the same as in 100 Egg almost. But the two mini games in this level are very, very difficult to do optimally. You got the subs and then the skateboard race. The skateboard race is what I spent like 3 hours ILing last night when I should have been practicing the speedrun.
Be careful.
But first I'm going to try and do a little skip here. Nice, get boosted up by the enemy up into this boat. Then I'm going to take an intentional... I'm going to get the checkpoint from that ferry there, from Zoe, and then take an intentional death. This whole level is an escort mission, basically, and by doing that, it warps the guy that you're escorting directly to the end there. It's a fair bit faster than actually going through and doing the escort normally.
Would you look at that?
So that's the end of level egg that we get first. Then we're going to go grab one in a cave here, and then head into subs. Subs is a... There's a lot of room to get to like improve at subs. You can, if you watch like one of the top 117% runners, they do some crazy stuff in subs. I haven't spent enough time on it to be able to do all the like no scopes and like optimized route, but I've spent some time practicing. I kind of know roughly what I'm doing. It's just not the fastest strats. But if you just let this get out of hand and just like improvise, it can go very, very slow. The issue is that the torpedoes you shoot are really slow moving, and so trying to hit stuff without locking on first is very difficult. Should have, yeah. And I think there's one in here, yeah. Alright, that wasn't too bad. And then the second sub challenge, there's one more sub and they also drop mines behind them, so you don't want to like tailgate them too much or they can just wreck you.
Well, I hate...
Cool thing here, if you start holding X at the right time to get a speed boost and then Go to the right. That guy in front of us will just kill himself. He just drops a mine directly in his own face. That's very consistent and just saves some time. Alright, that wasn't great, but that should hit. That also should hit. Yeah. Good, then there should be 2 out of here. Yeah. Where are you going? And this guy. Oh, nice. Okay, I got another one. That was not intentional. He also dropped a mine and then turned around right into it. I didn't mean to do that, but I will take it. Alright, pretty good subs actually, by my standards. No, that jumps really hard. I don't usually get that, but still go for it. Instead, you can jump off this cannon to get up here a bit quicker. You can actually just use the intended method to get up there, and it's only a little bit slower, but cannon jump saves time. And then we've got the skateboard race. There are 2 races here. The first one, you're just racing 6 Rhinox or 5 Rhinox? Yeah, I'm in 6, so there's 5 Rhinox. You're racing the Rhinox, it's pretty easy to win. And then in the second one, I'll be racing Hunter, and he's a bit faster, and also you have to kill all the crabs on the way through. What I'm going to try to do here is go for some lap skips. You can get out of bounds in this, and if you can hit all the checkpoints from out of bounds, you can save a lot of time. There's one. Hopefully I got that, and then got to turn around and get the last checkpoint. Oh no. I'll run out of boost here. Hopefully this ticks over to 3 while I'm up here. Yes, that means I got the first one. And then hopefully the race ends here. Good. All right. Yeah, that's basically perfect for what I go for. I did miss one of the blue stars, so I ran out of boost, but that was pretty good. And then this time I have to try and kill all the crabs on the first lap through, which lets me go for 2 more lap skips. Or kill almost all the crabs. Yeah, I was having a issue with the lap skips not counting, and I was not able to figure out what was causing it, but shoutouts to Lulu Potate, who gave me some advice and basically fixed the issue I was having. I went far enough there. Yeah, running out of boost again. Did I miss the star? I'm not sure what happened there, but not great boost management, but nice. Okay, 4 out of 4 lap skips. That's awesome. I'm very, very happy I did that. Optimally, like really optimally on the second race, on the first race. Sorry, let me just do something here. Nice. Optimally on the first race, you can actually do a skip on the first lap as well. That's harder and riskier because you end up with like no boost for the rest of the race if you do that, and that's the IL strat, but it's quite difficult to do consistently, so I don't go for that. Yeah, now I'm swimming up in not water again, and it might not be clear how. When I left Lost Fleet, I did something called zombie. Basically, I took damage in the acid and then quit the level on the same frame that I was going to die. There's a really nice cue where the controller vibrates if you get the right frame. And you can pause buffer it if you miss too early, so it's not too bad. But what that does is puts you in a state that we call zombie, and that has some effects. But one of them is that you can't change your swim state while you're in zombie, which means if you're like in your normal like not swimming state, you will just fall through water and not swim. But if you are swimming, which is what happens when you leave Lost Fleet into Evening Lake, you are stuck swimming. You can't stop swimming, even if you swim back up through the surface of water. And so we use that just as a free swim in Evening Lake. There is another swim in there you can do, but it's much harder. There's no reason to ever go for it when the zombie exists.
If you use your...
I did do a death abuse there shortly after I got back to the level, though. Because I wanted to get rid of zombie, because zombie has some other effects that we don't really want to keep. Yeah, this is Bentley's outpost. We saw Bentley briefly earlier. This is his actual level. You just escort Bartholomew through. Do a bit of like camera manipulation to get the cycles correct on those seals. I didn't do it excellently there. Skip Bartholomew there with a little spin jump. Otherwise, it's just walking. There is an intended jump here that is unreasonably difficult for being the intended way to get across. Like, the jump between these two boxes is actually really tight. Yeah, I don't know why.
Thanks, bro.
Alright, so now Frozen Altars. This has a proxy at the beginning, Mammoth Proxy, which is pretty easy as proxies go, but very punishing if you miss it. So I hope I get this. Good. Alright. Oh, too high. I only needed to get up here. So I get that, and then I'm going to do an egg death abuse on this next egg. Basically, every time you get an egg, you get a checkpoint. So if you die, you just respawn back where that egg was. But if you do that, if you trigger that egg cutscene and then like die immediately, like while the egg cutscene's still happening, the egg counts. Like I still have the egg, but I didn't get a checkpoint, and so I respawn back at the previous egg that I got, which saves some time moving back there. Now boxing, everyone's favorite. Come on. Alright, 39's not bad. Yeah, there are like stun locks you can do on the Yeti here in boxing. Like the strat is basically just jab him to death, but once he's in the corner, you can do this really good stun lock that gets a lot of hits in very quickly. I want to try and this second boxing is longer. Ideally, you want to kill him on the first round. Come on. Nice. Really good. There's like a stamina system there, so you can't just keep stun locking him forever. You can't just chain those jabs infinitely. So each time you like run out of stamina and have to wait, there is a chance that he can like break out. But that ended up being very good. Failed that. That's not the end of the world. Just go around this way. If I'd got that mammoth proxy, I would have skipped into this cat hockey area.
Say, Spyro.
But instead, I will just pay money back because I have enough gems.
I challenged him.
Yeah, that's the FGC interlude. You can actually play that boxing minigame 2-player. Like, if you have already beaten it once for the egg, and then you just plug in a second controller, you can do it multiplayer. Me and Rexay did that in a ASM event once. Oh my god, this is terrible. Yeah. Oh no! Oh, I can box, but I can't play hockey. Alright. I might lose. You're going in, you're going in. That did count, even though it bounced straight out. Soccer rules. Get in. But if I try and get that same cat back in again, it won't work. It remembers which cats you've already used. Alright.
Well done.
That was Bar, which is definitely a dragon, and not any other animal.
Thanks for helping out.
Alright. Okay, so now we have Fireworks Factory. People familiar with Spyro 3 runs might remember this as the home of Firefly Proxy, which is a kind of notorious trick. It saves a lot less time in this category, which is good because it's like an hour and 20 in, or I don't know how far in I am. I don't have a timer up. Yeah, hour 28. This is not great pace, but no surprise there. Yeah, I'm just gonna not, actually. I'm not gonna waste time. There's a thing you can do here where you game over intentionally at the end of this level, and it saves time getting to the rocket afterwards. And so if I go in here on 1 life, then I'll go for Firefly twice, because like, if I fail it once and then get it, like, I'm on 0 lives, so I can do the game over reviews. But I have 3 lives, which is kind of way too many.
It looks like...
So instead, I'm just going to take the intended way. Loses like 20 seconds or something, which sounds like a lot, but it's better than sitting there going for Firefly for a while. The reason it saves less time here is because there's an extra area you need to go to, and it just makes the move, like having to do the end of level first, which you do for Firefly, makes the movement to those extra areas a bit more awkward. Nice, that was Ninja HQ skip. Little setup and damage boost to get this. Normally you have to run around this big area to get that.
It looks like... Hey... If you see hand...
And now we see Agent 9 for the first time. This is our 4th and final like side character.
Hey, Spyro.
He has movement. He has some movement.
Hi, Agent 9.
Oh my god, I'm not doing this very well. So basically with Agent 9, when you're in first person like this, it's slightly different to if you're in third person. But effectively you hold forward, hold one of the strafe buttons and mash the other one. And you start zigzagging and building up a bunch of speed. And if you release it, you just go really fast forward. It's difficult to control. Firstly, if you go too fast, you can like overflow his speed and start going backwards. And also, all the walls in that area are curved, which means if you go too fast into a wall, you just go upwards. Like it just you get stuck on the ceiling. But yeah, that's Agent 9. We'll be seeing a bit more of him later. And then last thing in this level is the Twin Dragons. These guys, you just need to hit them a bunch of times with fireballs. They do start regenerating if you leave them, if you go too long without hitting them, which is why we want to get one at a time. Just want to focus on orange first and then purple. And they also get smaller as you hit them more, which makes them harder to hit, so it can be quite tricky. Their movement is random, but they only have, like, it's kind of predictable to a degree. Like, they have certain patterns they can do. They'll always try and, like, curve around so that they're not in front of you, and when they go in one of these tunnels, it's, like, predictable where they're going to be. Ugh, this is bad, though. One more. I think it's only one more. Hit him! Oh my god, he won't come out of this tunnel! Far out. It sucks. Yeah, get over this one. There we go. That was bad. Okay. And that's fireworks done. So yeah, if you have 0 lives there, it's faster to just game over intentionally, because after the game over screen, it puts you quite close to where the rocket is. But I have too many lives for that, so I need to just exit normally and swim back. Look at this frog. And then we got our third boss. This boss, Scorch, is very renowned for being a complete RNG fest. Especially in shorter runs, like any percent. Scorch will just kill your run. Like, if you get bad RNG here, you're just losing so much time. And there's 2 kind of independent RNG sources here. Firstly, the weapons that Bentley drops. There are 2 of them. There's a red rocket, which I just got, which is the good one. Red rocket has 50 ammo, and there's also a green rocket, which hones in on him, but only has 1 ammo and does the same amount of damage as a red rocket. So you then have to wait for Bentley to drop more rockets before you can hit him again. Whereas with this, I can just keep spamming him down. So you ideally want a red rocket very early, and then also the attacks that Scorch does are also random, and they take different amounts of time for him to be vulnerable afterwards. Maybe? Yeah, good. So that was pretty good. That, like, little Sunseed dude was slow, but otherwise that was a good Scorch. I actually want health. I should have gone... Yeah. There's another way you can get here that has frogs in the path that I didn't do. But that's fine.
Princess Amy.
So third Sparks level, this one, same as the last one, has a skip right to the end. The normal, like, gimmick in this level is that you have to kill all that... Oh, you normally have to kill all the enemies in one room to unlock the next one. But it's not really that relevant when you can just go over the wall and skip straight to the boss. Oh, nice. Absolutely nice. Yeah, I got hit by a mine there, and I was on less health than I would have liked to have been. Something I've been doing with the rapid fire power up. Normally it does this like spray to the left and right, but if you just mash the button instead of holding it, it'll like the spray starts facing forward, and so they'll all go forward if you just mash the button. And then again, we don't need the sparks power up. I think it's a 1.0 thing where you like spawn really far outside of Zoe's talk range there, so you can just turn around and leave without getting the extra health that you would normally get from that Zoe. She gives you like an extra hit point. But yes, we are in our last homeworld. And the first thing we're going to do here is actually go and fight the final boss.
Spyro.
It's a kind of quirk of this category that you can't actually end on the final boss. Even if you wanted to, it's just not possible, because there are 2 eggs that are only unlocked after you've beaten the final boss. Oh, I need to get the EV, I forgot.
You did it.
So yeah, like you have to fight the boss early, so it's just works out faster to do it straight away. Unfortunately means this category ends on just collecting an egg rather than on an actual ending of the game. So I'll just play the credits with a cheat code at the end. So yeah, this is the sorceress. This fight is really complicated. There's like different patterns of how the weapons get dropped and like how the sorceress moves, and then you can skip a phase at the end if you do it right, which saves a lot of time. So I will kind of focus a bit here. Three? Yeah, 3 hits good. And tank. What do I have? Yeah, tank, alright. I got the phase skip, so if I can kill her with this tank, we save a lot of time. Excellent. Yeah, really good fight. That can spiral out of control very quickly, so glad I nailed that. And then again, just quit out. If I didn't quit out there, it would actually just like play the ending, like the end credits, which would obviously be really slow. You can skip it, but you would then have to like manually skip all the cutscenes and just take a long time. But you can, as always, just quit out before that starts. Go for another egg death abuse here. It's just slightly faster than taking the whirlwind back, because you skip part of the egg animation and all the whirlwind. Also, the egg that was just like lying on the ground next to this level, that's the egg from the thief that's normally there in Midnight Mountain. After you kill the sorceress, the thief disappears to make way for Moneybags, who shows up, and its egg just like is sitting on the ground there, which is really nice because getting that thief quickly is not the easiest thing in the world. Little proxy off the scorpion there to skip this entire level, like that this is the end level egg. That's Tara. She's legally distinct from any other characters you may be familiar with. Then another little proxy out of bounds to get into the shark subs area. There's a route for this that I would like to try and nail. It's in 100 eggs, so I've had plenty of practice.
Just watch out for the shark riders.
Good, very good.
Nice.
Yeah, so those are always on the same cycle from when you enter this sub-level, so if you do it correctly, you can just always kill them like that. But the shots that you do are a little weird to control. Another cool proxy here, just a really tall one off the big scorpion. That's not very difficult. It's kind of crazy. Takes us all the way out here. And then we have our, I believe, last time seeing Sheila, if I remember right. We get this little 2D side-scrolling challenge. The cycles work out here that if I did this right, yeah, I just don't take damage from him. He like ends his lava floor or like heated floor cycle right as you get to it. And then again, if you, as long as you kill the enemy, the heated floor goes away immediately. So even if you are like a frame away from hitting it, as long as the enemy's dead, don't need to worry about it. One more egg here in this little cave. Funny thing here, if you don't kill this scorpion, this egg is just not active. You can't collect it. Shoutouts to Parso, who didn't know that and tried to do that in a ASM run and had no idea why he couldn't get the egg. Alright, now all of the skipping money bags that I did through the run will come back to help me because you get an egg from moneybags here by chasing him around and getting all your gems back. But the amount that you have to chase him around is actually based on how many times you've paid him throughout the run. And so if you skipped all of the moneybags payments, which you can do, you would just flame him once and it would be instantly over and you'd get the egg. Unfortunately, I had to pay for cat hockey in this run, so I had to do an extra flame over what I would normally have to do, but not a big deal.
What was that?
And Agent 9 again. This time we get third-person Agent 9, which works a little differently. The concept is similar, like it's still hold one strafe button and mash the other to get speed, but you have to like move diagonally instead of forward, and it's kind of tricky to control.
A vast.
Okay, hit the button, kill the Rhinox, and then a little quick one to get here a bit more quickly.
These indicate.
You can manipulate this. The enemies are supposed to pop out randomly here, but I messed that up. Yeah. If you move the camera like slowly across, they always come out in the same order.
You clear?
Yeah. Oh no, come on.
Just as I. Nice work.
Testing your marksmanship here.
Now I can swing.
Oh god. So we want to try and kill some of these as they come out of here if we can, before they get settled in their nests. I didn't do that very well. Oh, come on. Oh, he's gonna die? Why can't I hit this guy?
The labs.
Not great Agent 9 movement. This is quite difficult to control, but if you can do it properly, you save a lot of time. And these guys have unreasonably small hitboxes. Their hitbox is basically exactly what it looks like, which is annoying when they're this far away. Easy to miss them. A little bit more zigzagging. Oh, don't talk to me. That was pretty good until I accidentally hit Professor's talk box. And then we just have to kill all these guys with bombs. They have the like metal armor on, so we can't shoot them.
Thank you.
I'll grab this egg that we left behind in the homeworld. Then Crystal Island's probably like aesthetically one of my favorite levels. It's got some cool tricks as well. Lots of ways to get swim in air in this level. So this guy's gonna summon some gems that we're supposed to use as platforms, but instead I'm gonna do a magic trick and just get swimming air off it. If you just swim as it like tries to push you outwards, you get pushed out of the water as you activate swim, and so you get swimming air. And that saves a lot of time getting these eggs. It's the two out in the open, and then this one from the plane thief. Chasing this thief around is a pain. But if you just swim from directly in front of him, he'll just fly right into you.
Good.
Right. Last time seeing Bentley. We've got to play whack-a-mole. Conveniently, there's a spot up in the back of the area, though, where the moles come out quite quickly, and the idea is you're hitting the moles, but avoiding hitting the wizards that pop out of the ground. But if you stick around here, the moles start to come out very quickly, and you won't see any wizards at all, so you can actually just not worry about it. Good.
Well done.
And then use this Superfly to go over to the end of level. The end of level NPC in this level has a huge talk radius, so you can actually trigger him from all the way down here. Like, we're talking to that guy that I just flew past and getting the egg from him. And then once the egg cutscene's over, I immediately go in here. Nice. Proxy off that. And basically skip the trigger that activates the slide. So I can just glide all the way to the end. Good crystal. Alright, just, what, 3 levels left? Yeah, 3. Oh, no, Bugbot. 4, I guess, but one of them's very short. I'm going to do a skip at the beginning here to get to the end of the level. There's like 3 different ways of doing this. I'll try all of them in order. Nice, I got the quickest one. Yeah, little proxy off that mummy. I'm not very good at that, so I'm happy I got that.
One of those dogs.
But you can also jump off the door to the next area as it's coming down.
Behind this.
The NPCs in this level give you riddles, so you have to actually menu. And then... Nice. Optimal. So you zigzag into the sloped wall there and go up the up onto the like boundary of the area and skip all of the big like dungeon section there where you have to kill all the enemies. Big skip there. Yeah, correct. There's no JP version of this game. There are JP versions of Spyro 1 and 2, and they are awful. Like, every change you could possibly make to make the game worse, they basically made it when they made the Japanese versions of those games. They're horrible. And so I am not surprised that this game never came out in Japan, because I'm sure the first two games sold like nothing. You're just slower, there's like... Just like the movement is awful. The camera is completely wrong in Spyro 1 JP. Yeah, look up the Japanese versions if you're curious, but I am not surprised that this game never came out in Japan.
The first.
But the there is a PAL version which is much more similar, which is like runnable but slower. They did an alright job accommodating for the frame rate difference, but it is still slower. And then there's two NA versions. There's like a 1.0 and a 1.1, and they're pretty similar. 1.0 has a few small time saves, but not enough to be like game breaking. Or like the world record in 117% was on 1.1 for a long time, so it's not a big deal.
That will.
Not my best tanks ever, but it'll do. Yeah, so Spyro 1 Japanese has like this weird top-down camera that doesn't make any sense, and you unlock the normal camera for beating the game. It's is it? I don't remember if it's just for beating the game or for getting 120%, but it's a choice. Alright, some cool scenery stuff here. I'm gonna jump out, get this egg. That's the intended way to get this. It's just hidden. But then I'm gonna do some very not intended stuff. We'll jump off that window, get over on top of this, and then little squeeze proxy off this axle onto the roof. Flop around, and this is the end of the level. You have to break that wall. If you just drop directly into this jail cell, you won't get the egg. You do actually have to break that wall. Yeah, literally the optimal movement on the Japanese version of Spyro 1 is to repeatedly like jump and charge over and over. Like, you don't charge along the ground, you like spam jump, charge, jump, charge, jump, charge. And Spyro makes this little whoop sound every time you do it, so it's quite funny. Another water tunnel like the one in Seashell Shore. This one's has an extra dimension, but is probably easier. Because you just have to dodge stuff, you don't actually have to hit anything. Then we have our last time seeing Agent 9. We have a pretty long auto-scroller. This is Time Crisis mode, and then there's some movement afterwards. I want to break some of the baskets and windows during this so that they don't get in the way when I'm going through here after the auto-scroller. If only there was a timer for it. Or like a score or anything. You can save time, like as long as you kill the last enemy in each wave, like as quickly as possible, you do save some time. Oh no. There's a secret dino at the back here that gives you a skill point, but it actually loses time to kill him. Because he counts as, like, if you don't kill him, he doesn't count as one of the enemies in that wave, but if you do kill him, he does count, and it, like, delays it. It delays the next wave a little bit. Alright, now a little bit more Agent 9 movement to grab the last egg in this... Oh god. Grab the last egg in this area. Oh, I'm going backwards. That's what I mean about overflowing his speed. I overdid that a bit. Go back to grab this, which we skipped earlier by doing all that out of bounds stuff. And that's our last, like, normal level, where we just run around as Spyro. There's one more Sparks level, and then one more Speedway, and then we are done. I do have the correct egg count, that is good. 145 on this is correct, because there's one in the Sparks level and then 3 more in the Speedways. In the Speedway.
Just before you...
Alright, another one where we get to skip everything and just climb up this wall. The wall climbing as Sparks is pretty easy, by the way. You just kind of hold into the wall and just tap one of the strafe buttons until you get on the wall, and then you just hold the strafe button. You can do a thing here where you like grab onto this wall as you're falling down, which is pretty cool. And then this fight without rapid fire is a bit of a pain, but I have to do it. It splits into 2, and then the 2 halves start getting like smaller and smaller, more difficult to hit. Yeah, it's pot centipede. Alright, skip the last Sparks power up. This is the best one. In 117, you actually come and do Bug Bot like as early as possible to get the Sparks power up from this, because it lets Sparks like break gem containers for you. But as usual, we don't need it. Alright, last level. So we got a Speedway race, and then a Speedway time trial, and then the Hunter challenge, and then we'll be done. So I will try not to fail this Speedway race like I did in the last one. This is probably my favorite of the 4 races. I like the time trial better in country, but the race here is good. This is also the level that this music is supposed to be from. You might maybe have noticed that all of the speedways have had the same music. that's just a 1.0 thing. The later releases had actual tracks for all of the speedways, and they're actually pretty good. The Honey Speedway music specifically is a very good track, but this version does not have it. As I mentioned before, they hadn't finished the hadn't finished the soundtrack when they released this game. One more lap. Killed that. The things about racing here, by the way, are blue-footed boobies. That's what it says on the menu. Race the blue-footed boobies. So yeah, any booby enjoyers? Time trial. Nice. The supercharge is pretty tricky to control. There's some like delay before you actually start turning, so the movement on the boat to kill all the lobsters and the birds is kind of tricky. Alright, one more. And this one's pretty much an auto-scroller. There is like a chance, which there isn't really because I'll avoid it, but like if you don't know what you're doing, you can like have one of the rings on this challenge not spawn, and you have to do like an extra lap around the auto-scroller. But no, that's a 1.0 exclusive glitch as far as I know, but if you just like stay a little away from him at the end, it might happen. But yes, very, very close to the end here. Once I'm done with this little UFO chase, we get to stare at Hunter's backside for a while. And time will just end when the last egg hatches. As I mentioned before, you actually can't end on beating the game for this category. Slow myself down a bit on those posts and then take these turns a little wide just to make sure I don't get the lap glitch. Good. Alright. Hold. Hold.
Yes.
And... time. Awesome. What? I don't actually know. Oh, let me play the credits. Just there's a cheat code that lets you do that. There we go. We got an actual ending. What was the time? 2:05. Yeah, not great, but considering I crashed the game at one point and then failed the Honey Speedway race, I can't be too mad about that. Thank you, everyone.
Outstanding stuff. I'm having to readjust because my headphones are going flat and my cable is really short. But give it up for Dactyly, everybody. Come on, round of applause. Closing out
thank you.
Syothon, that does also confirm that every single runner in this event went under estimate. So, we had a cumulative estimate of 44 hours and 30 minutes. Final time as a group was 42 hours, 3 minutes, and 11 seconds. Absolutely smashed the group estimate.
ASM could never.
We also had an anonymous $100 donation come in the sort of back half of that run as well, which was excellent. Yeah, 3 runs suffered tech issues and had to restart or like reboot and still went under estimate, being yours, Rippy's, and Ninten's, which is also very fun.
My tech issue was entirely my fault though. I pressed the eject button on my console.
Look at that. He's so humble. He's too humble.
Oh, noobs! I didn't mean it. I promise.
Now
it adds character.
Just excellent work all around. Thank you for closing out the show in such excellent fashion as well. And yeah, just absolutely smashing it with that last run. Now, you were alluding to sort of future plans. Is there any sort of any plans that you have for the future? Any closing sort of words that you want to give for the people at Syothon before you fade off into the night?
Yeah, I mean, I stream a lot, mostly this game at the moment. I'm going for sub 2, which I'm very close to, and then I want to do some like multi-game runs a bit, some like trilogy stuff, and then it's going to be 117% after that. So there's more Spyro plans.
Outstanding.
And, Twitch.tv/Dactyly. Yeah. See my name right there.
Now the people want to know. They want to see this Spyro action. Where can they? They've been
I'm
hounding
sorry,
me.
I got in before you could ask the question.
They've been hounding me.
I'm so sorry.
Where
I
on
ruined the flow of
earth?
the
Where
interview.
on earth can people see more Dactyly action, more Daction, if you will?
More Daction. Twitch.tv/Dactyly. Yeah. Mostly Spyro.
Outstanding stuff. And there's a secret speedrun game that I'm aware of that's coming soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's not that secret anymore. I tweeted about it. I've spent like 6 weeks learning Majora's Mask and then decided I actually am not done with this game yet. But that will be coming sometime next year.
The Year of the Dragon lives on. It's longer than 365 days. Outstanding stuff. Before you do fade off, was there any closing remarks in general that you wanted to give?
No, just
anything else?
Thanks for the event. Like, it's been very cool. I've had a lot of fun watching and taking part. I was very hyped when I heard this was happening. And yeah, thanks everyone for coming and watching.
Thank you, Dactyly. No event, no runners, no event. So you guys are the real heroes. And thank you for submitting and everything and taking time out of your weekend and whatnot. So we will do one final bidum, get Dactyly out of here, and then we'll close out the show. Everyone say bye, Dactyly, one last time. Everyone waving goodbye. There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. Bidum. What an event. It's done. Syothon has concluded. Look at that. I will eject Dact from the webcam room as well. Look at that. Syothon's done. That was outstanding. There was a... What do we reach in total? Actually, there's one last that I need to put through. Where is it? Hang on. I had it open just a moment ago. Okay, so I'm gonna round up. It disappeared on me. I've got to retype it. Just one moment. Okay, it is on the way. I literally had it like queued up and ready to go, and then it just disappeared. We had to trip right at the finish line with that one. Oh, dude, come on. It's making me prove that I'm a human. Let me give you money. And that should come through. Of course it doesn't. There it is. So the syothon Twitch stream with there was just under $25 via the Twitch stream through subs, primes, bits, and whatnot. That wouldn't be right to stay here. It's best for it to go to the event. So it came out to like 23.11 or something. I'll just make it easy, round up to 25. So that leaves us with a grand total of $1,380 raised for Gamers Outreach. An outstanding effort. I had the goal set initially at $500, and I'm so unbelievably proud. Thank you to Gamers Outreach, specifically Zach from Gamers Outreach, for contacting me to get me involved and whatnot. And I've worked with him for other events in terms of getting set up and doing everything in that regard to sort of get set up for other events. Himself and the Gamers Outreach team are incredibly just easy to work with. They also provided the all the fancy graphics and overlays and whatnot that you've been staring at for the last 48 hours. Thank you to everyone that donated. We just had Chikochi as well with a last minute 20. It says, well done, Sio, on an amazing event. Thank you, Chokoro. Rounding it out to $1,400. Yeah, thank you to everyone that donated, watched, shared the link, lurked, chatted, anything, any amount of support, be it monetary or just with your time, is incredibly appreciated. Thank you to Stalinide, Vaitisuki, GL Phoenix, Fireproof Naz, Noops AU, Rainbow Unicorn Phoenix, Hamfruit Cake, Conical Flak, Zendo Toaster, Aeon Frodo, Calabar, Ninten, Chikochi, Kenora, Drakedan, Captain of the Dorks, Yuki Layla, Fox Machine, Rab, Rippy, and of course Dactyly. Those were our 22 amazing runners that we had there. And there's really not much else that I have left to say. It was the event was concerningly smooth. There was only one major sort of tech issue thing. The event ran ahead of schedule. I'm ending earlier, a couple of minutes earlier than I thought I would. Yeah, thank you, Gamers Outreach, for inviting me on for the Jolly Jamboree, which, as a whole, if I can find... the event as a whole right now has raised over $134,000, which is outstanding. And that is for their Go-Karts campaign, which is little portable gaming kiosks for hospitalized children. So that's like monitors, consoles, controllers, etc., for them to socialize and play video games with themselves, other patients, and their friends and whatnot, while they're in hospital recovering from injury and illness, which is an incredibly good cause. And yeah, absolutely stoked to be providing such a meaningful amount to such a cause. Yeah, absolutely excellent. Thank you as well to Mrs. Sio, she's here, right there, for letting me sit at my computer for the last 48 hours straight, pretty much. More specific thank yous as well to Rainbow Unicorn Phoenix, Kenora, and Vaitisuki for doing the night shift and letting me get 4 hours of sleep each night, roughly. I think I probably would have expired if I tried to do the whole thing without sleeping. And also Stalinide for fixing the only really gnarly tech issue that I was presented with. And yeah, just one final thank you to all the runners, the Gamers Outreach team, everyone, etc. I'm probably just going to end up repeating myself over and over. So, with that, I'll do one last sending off into the night, and it will be me. I will be the one being... I'm the one last bidum for the event. Thank you, everybody. I'm not sure if I'm going to stream again for the rest of the year. I may just take the time to... the holiday period to spend with friends and family and whatnot. But whatever I do, you'll be able to see it here. Please go and support all the runners as well. Go and follow their Twitches and whatnot. I know you're all dying to know where you can see more of them. And with that,